Welcome back. In today's episode, we continue our discussion with Shantel Khleif, owner of Image Media Consulting. Have you ever struggled with hiring people? Shantel has an amazing system that will help you with your hiring process and find the right people.
Welcome to this edition of Peak Performers Podcast with your host, Thor Conklin. Thor will be sharing the necessary tools, strategies, and psychology you'll need to become a peak performer in any area of your life or business.
Thor Conklin here. We give you the tricks, the tips, the tools, the strategy, the technology, and the psychology peak performers use in order to get more done and execute at the highest level. If you know what to do but struggle with getting it all done, or simply want to raise your game to the next level, this podcast is for you. Sit back and enjoy. What's some of the best advice you've ever received in business?
I would probably say from my family. Again, it goes back to, you can do anything you want to if you put your mind to it. And that's just something I think I've always held on to. Don't be afraid to fail. Those are kind of the two that always ring true to me.
Yeah. I know your uncle. He's an amazing individual and has a very, very successful podcast as well on real estate investing.
Yeah, he hasn't had me on it yet, but maybe it's because I don't own any real estate. But yes, he's great.
Well, I'll send him. The real estate people need help with social media as well.
Very true.
I'll drop him a line.
Thanks.
Hey, get her on the show.
Yeah.
To be successful in business, we have to learn the lesson that we need to say no more than we say yes. And that's very difficult in the beginning of setting up a business. You want to take all your customers on. You want to just be, you just want a great place to work. And you really need to learn how to say no. How do you decide what to say no to? And conversely, what do you say yes to?
Yeah, no, that is a great question. And certainly very difficult for me. I think I have kind of that shiny object syndrome and, we could be doing this and, we could,
Yeah,
kind
we're
of
entrepreneurs. We all do.
Yeah.
It doesn't go away.
So it is difficult, especially if you could see something turning into something really awesome. But client-wise, we've gotten a lot better about defining our market and who would be a really good fit for us. So I would say that saying no to maybe not the right partner is getting a lot easier. And it's because we have now kind of a pre-qualifying checklist. If you have XYZ and you're like this, then we'll be a good fit. We've also just had to realize the tough way. We've taken on some that either had unrealistic expectations or couldn't commit to the time that we needed to be effective. And it's a disservice for them and for us. So it makes that conversation and saying no a little bit easier. But I actually listened to a podcast yesterday about saying yes and instead of no or yes but.
Tell us about it.
It was really interesting, and it really talked about not shooting down people's ideas, especially on the team. And even if it's outlandish and it's not something you want to do, saying yes and building on the idea as opposed to shutting it down can help the collaboration. So I think it's interesting. Yeah.
I agree 100% with that. I mean, I think that's really, really good advice. I love crazy ideas. I worked for a guy in New York, and he fired me 3 times. He fired me. He fired me 3 times. I never left the job because I told him, I said, employees you fire, slaves you've got to kill. And unless you're going to kill me, I'm here. I've got work to do. So he literally fired me 3 times. I didn't go anywhere. He actually even struck me twice. I got hit by him. Yeah, the old days.
Goodness.
Yeah,
what kind of environments do you work in?
Well, it was Wall Street. It was kind of a rough and tumble area, and we just did. But it was interesting because he goes, Conklin, he goes, I fired you several times, but he goes, I just got to keep you around. He goes, you come up with the most lame brain ideas most of the time, but then you have like this brilliant idea, and he goes, I never know which one it's going to be, and I just can't afford to let you go. So always come up with ideas. You never know which one will be great and which one will work. So
my next idea is for you're pretty good at impressions. Maybe that's a new calling for you as well. Can imagine this guy.
Yeah. Well, you know what's really interesting? I mean, he was an absolute, I won't use the word here because we'd have to put an explicit rating on it. He's not a very nice guy, but he was extremely driven. He knew exactly what he wanted to do, and he would never, ever, ever give up. We were going after a client, and it was 6 o'clock at night. The place had shut down. and the phone system shut down. We couldn't get through to get the deal done. He found the guardhouse, and he had the guard go down and track down the president of the company. And he'd already made a decision to go somewhere else, and he told him, you need to change it now. It was like the guy just never gave up. And I learned some really interesting life lessons and business lessons of never, ever giving up. It's never too late. Even if a business is closed and there's no one there, find the guard, send the police in. I mean, he'd do anything to get the deal done. And I got to respect
problem
that.
Solver.
Oh, yes, he was. Yes, he was. Tell me someone that you would like to interview or speak to, either dead or alive, and what would you ask him or her?
Well, I love Dale Carnegie, and I love How to Win Friends and Influence People. So if I could just grab coffee with him, I think that'd be interesting. Abe Lincoln seems pretty cool too. But alive, Sara Blakely is inspirational, and
she lives down the street.
No way.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, hint, hint. I love the intro. Yeah, so I think I would.
You know, she's a member of EO. She's a member of our chapter.
That.
Yeah.
I'll have to, but I haven't seen her at too many events.
No, I haven't seen her in 7 years either.
Okay.
At the events.
Or even down the street.
Yeah. Catch her walking the dog.
I'd have to come up with a thoughtful question. I've read her story, so I wouldn't want to ask something kind of about that.
But I would reach out to her. I mean, she's an amazing woman, and she really does she loves helping young women get to the next level. And I think you'd be surprised if you were to reach out to her, that you just might get a response.
Just write that down. I'll definitely do that.
Absolutely. In peak performance, we just don't write it down. We actually do it.
Fair.
You know, I asked this question of most of my interviewees is, what did you not do great 10 years ago, but you do great now? I can't ask you that because you haven't been in the workforce for 10 years.
Oh, but I have an answer for that.
Okay, good. Excellent.
I was so bossy when I was little. We would have forts, and I would, of course, name myself like the leader and the captain of, who would, build what fort. I mean, it was silly, but no one wanted to hang out with me because I had no tact on delivery. And I mean that sincerely. And so I'm hoping that I've grown in that sense, that I know how to sandwich, tough conversations, and know how to see the good in people and communicate that, as opposed to just harp on the bad and, throw them down and kind of say, you effed up at this, as opposed, now saying you did awesome at this, and this is one way we can grow and change in the future. So again, it's maybe not business sense, but I do recognize I was extremely bossy and probably not very fun to be around.
And you're a very teeny, very feminine girl.
Yeah, okay.
I can see you running around going, you gotta do this.
Oh yeah, no, I had my to-do list, and I was, chop everyone. We've got to stay on track.
I like it. I want to go back to something that you said earlier, and you said that so many times your clients don't put aside the time that's necessary for them to work with you, because you really need the client engaged as well. And I went through this early in my career when I brought in some help with social media, and I found out there was a ton of work on my side. What can we expect as business owners to be able to commit or have to commit? What do you need from us in order for you to be successful for us?
Yeah, I wish everyone asked that question when we started. But our onboarding process is pretty unique and different than other agencies, at least that I've heard of. And we have a really, really extensive questionnaire that we have at the beginning. It's probably 10 pages. It doesn't sound very fun to anyone to fill out. Little daunting, but it goes so deep into your customer profile, your goals and objectives with the company, broken down by quarter. Where does that customer shop? What do they drive? What do they eat? And we really want to dig that information out of you. So if you kind of just breeze through that and don't give us, all the voice and branding information that we need, it's very difficult for us to effectively manage your accounts and for you to see any ROI on social. So we require that questionnaire to be extremely detailed. In addition to that, we touch base with all of our partners weekly. We like to get their feedback on posts and the content that we're creating. We like to think out of the box ideas and get feedback on that. And if they are silent and don't give us a ton of feedback, positive or negative, there's no opportunity for us to grow and really get a feel for their business. So I would say, I mean, again, we don't want to create an entirely new job for you, but we expect kind of that open communication and honest feedback.
You know, you have an amazing corporate culture. If you look at any of your Facebook stuff and kind of dig into the company, you can really see that as a team, you guys are really having a lot of fun together. How do you find great people? Because so many entrepreneurs struggle with this.
Yeah, and I think we've had to learn the hard way, and we're still learning. But we have a 10-step interview process, and I can dive into that a little bit if you think we have the time.
Yeah, no, everybody has issues with hiring. So we're listening. Go ahead.
Okay, fair. So first, when they send any of our job descriptions require them to send their resume and social media links. If they don't read the job description and don't send their social media links, they're out. If they do, we send them a link to schedule a time to call us. They have to call a specific line at that dedicated time. If they're late, if they call the wrong number, again, that really kind of shows attention to detail. So we talk to them for 15 minutes. We ask them why do they want to work with us and what do we do. If they have very little understanding of what we do, they don't know any of our clients, they haven't looked at the website, they're kind of out. After that step, they are assigned a blog post to see a sample writing piece, which we give them a deadline of the next day. If they don't send it on time, again, they're out. If we like the writing sample, we'll schedule a 60-minute interview, and it's turnstile. So the entire team meets the candidate and talks to them between 15 and 20 minutes. And then this sounds a little sorority-esque or kind of cutthroat, but we rate the candidates based on our core values after the interview and as a team discuss it. So if they, we feel like they would fit in our culture and they exceed in our core values, then they're assigned a project where they have to do sample social media posts based on a particular client. And then after that, after we've seen that piece, we all grab coffee as a team, and it's very informal, and we just talk and get to know them better to see if they can have a conversation and if we feel that they can build relationships with peers as well. And then we call references. So it takes a little bit.
That is incredible. That is great.
Thanks.
Great information. You just brought me back to my time in New York as well. It's so funny that I haven't spoken about my boss in New York, I don't think, on any of these broadcasts. But we used to have an interview process where we would sit. We were in this executive lounge, and they had these coasters that were made out of leather, basically. And we would wing them at the interviewee.
What?
It wouldn't hurt. Yeah, exactly. It wouldn't hurt them. And we wanted to see if they would actually just sit there or if they would pick them back up and start winging them back. And if you didn't pick them back up and start winging them back and fight, you were out. I don't recommend that. I'm sure we broke every single, HR rule.
Yeah.
They threw things at me. But I forgot about that. That's how we weeded the people out. We wanted to know, are they going to stand up for themselves? And what you're doing there is awesome. Much more HR friendly than our system.
Yeah, well, we want to see that they're organized and prompt and can handle deadlines. So that's what we are trying to do kind of behind the scenes without them maybe realizing what we're.
Yeah. I heard something the other day that when they were hiring executives, they would book the airline ticket for the executive, and then they would send one of their other executives out, and they would have the seat next to them. So if they were flying in from L.A., the other executive would fly out to L.A., get on the same plane as this guy coming back, and then they would sit next to each other. It's like, hey, why are you going to Atlanta? Oh, I'm going to Atlanta for an interview. Really? Who are you interviewing with? And it was a guy from the company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so the whole trip from L.A. back to Atlanta, they'd be talking. And he wanted to find out what he really thought. And he said they learn more about candidates, when they think they weren't being interviewed. I'm not quite sure if that's legal either, but I thought that was a really interesting concept. I actually check out people's cars.
Okay.
After I interview someone.
Keep them clean?
Absolutely. If you've got a filthy car, sorry. I don't know. I just got to think. If you can't keep your car clean, to me, that says something about you.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I do the same thing. I also put in answers that they have to answer in the If I post a job, it may say, please respond back with your favorite color. I'll kind of bury that in it to make sure that they actually read it.
Oh, that's a good idea. I like that.
And they have to put it in the subject line. So please put in the subject line your favorite color. And then as it comes back, if someone says, hey, I'm interested in your job, it's like, didn't read it.
Well, okay. And on that note, so that probably makes it super easy for you to just weed through. Do you respond to everyone that applies for a position if they didn't follow directions?
No.
Really? Okay.
No.
We're not doing that either, but we've gotten a Glassdoor review about that we didn't respond. And I'm like, well, you wasted my time. You didn't follow directions.
Yeah.
But maybe that's not the best. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm looking for the best of the best candidates.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can be a wake-up call, I had someone come in and apply for a job recently, and she couldn't keep eye contact. And she would have been a great candidate, but she couldn't look me in the eye. And somebody else was kind of distracted with people walking around or on they weren't on their phone, but they were distracted. I was like, if you can't stay focused in a job interview for 10 minutes, not a good fit. And hopefully they take something from that. Because I don't really think that most people understand how to present themselves at an interview. I don't know if it's being covered in college now or not. It certainly wasn't when I went to college.
Yeah, no, the millennial, I guess I classify as a millennial, but it's just mind-boggling these days. So, I don't know.
I think you got a great system. There is no, system that wins out every single time with job interview. Oh, I'll give one more out for you and for the listeners. And I thought this was brilliant. It was actually at a recent Entrepreneurs Organizations meeting. And that was the question that he asked. He wants to know, when was the first job you had when you started making money? And you'll like this answer, by the way. What he found is, after working with teens for 15, 20 years, that the people that started working early and had jobs, whether it was raking leaves or a newsletter for the community, they had the best job skills and the best job. They were most enthused, most engaged, and did the best job.
Okay. So that's a great interview question too.
Yeah. When did you start?
When did you start work?
When did you start? What was your first paying job? Because what he found is people that got out of college and never had a job, and their parents paid for everything, and they just, kind of going along, when they got into the workforce, they just weren't hungry. They were used to someone taking care of them, and now they want you to take care of them. And the ones that got out when they were 13, 14, 15, and were bussing tables or waitressing or cutting grass, they were the hustlers. Those were the ones that got stuff done. And I thought it was brilliant. It made total sense to me. Every peak performer that has ever lived or will live does one thing extremely well. They know how to take their ideas and execute on them. Ideas and knowledge are not power, but the ability to execute on them, that is real power. If you consider yourself a peak performer and really want to take your game to the next level and truly master the science of execution, I would like to send you some information about our upcoming event, Business Execution Summit. Simply take your phone and text the word BE Summit, one word, to 41411. And I'll send you some additional information on how to master the most important skill you will ever acquire for your life or your business. Thank you so much for listening today. I really do appreciate your time, and I hope you found today's show valuable. If you would like to receive these shows automatically to your phone or to your computer, simply go to iTunes and subscribe. After listening to several of the shows, if you're so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating, as this helps us reach additional people and spread the message. If you're truly committed to taking your life to the next level and doing whatever it takes to become a peak performer, but something's holding you back, something is blocking your way, and you just can't seem to figure out what it is, send me an email to info@thorconklin.com, and I'd be more than happy to get on the phone with you. We'll schedule a 15-minute discovery call. No obligation, no cost. I absolutely love to hear from the listeners, and if there's something I can do to help, I'd be more than happy to do that. Also, if you found something of great interest in today's show and you want to share that with your friends and family, simply go to my Facebook page, Thor Conklin, click on the episode, hit the share button, and share it on your page. You can follow me at Twitter at Thor Conklin. The website is thorconklin.com. We're constantly adding new free resources, discussing additional tricks, tips, tools, and strategies on how to be a peak performer. Remember, I try to keep these episodes short so you can listen to them during dot time, doing other things, commuting, driving, walking, working out. Decide to be a peak performer in all that you do. And until tomorrow, have an absolutely amazing day.